Well folks, whilst we might be hoping this is the week where Jurassic World Evolution 3 finally gets announced, my optimism is beginning to wane a little bit, I'll admit. For some reason we continue to get absolutely incredible game-changing mods for Jurassic World Evolution 2, and today is no different. This is the Terrarium expansion decoration pack by Viral Cyclopes and commissioned by Banana Launcher 360, which is a fantastic name. Anyways, this is a new decoration pack, chock-a-block with 14 brand new decorations, most of which have been pulled from Planet Zoo. So for example, we have these new European rustic stone walls. This was always one of my favourite textures in Planet Zoo, so really cool to see that come into the game. We also have the horizontal wooden planks, and we also have the concrete walls, all three of those coming in 1 meter and 4 meter variants. But that's not really the exciting part of the mod. This is. Oh, we also have glass. I'm sorry, glass. I forgot that you exist. Right. The exciting part are these things, terrariums, that have been added to the game. And these come in 3 different variants. So we've got a desert terrarium here with our cactus, our cacti, I suppose I should say, and our burrows and tunnels and, you know, sand, as you would expect. We also have a jungle variant with bamboo and ferns and a little bit of water moving through, as you can see. If any of you have played Planet Zoo, you'll be very familiar with these designs already. And then finally, we also have a wetland variant with lots of water and just a little bit of land sitting in the middle, ready for your creatures. Now, you can't really... we're going to dabble, I'll show you in a little bit. It's hard to use these with existing animals in the game. They don't have walls and they're very, very small. So what we need to do is fill them with decorations. Now there are already decorations in the game that are appropriate for this sort of thing as long as you're modding your game. People have come out with some pretty cool stuff. But thankfully this pack also adds 7 new decorative animals that are perfect for terrarium use. So let's check them out. Our first 3 are over here. Now these are the unanimated decorations. So you've got a Meganeura. As you can see, one of your giant flying dragonflies. You've got a giant prehistoric spider. Unnamed. Everything else got a species name or a genera name, genus name. This just got spider. And over here, you've got Bavario boa, which is a big, cool-looking snake, basically. So these are all static, but you can drag and drop them and place them into your exhibits, into your terrariums. However, if you want things to get fancy, we need to shuffle over here to the right-hand side, over to our animated ones. So we'll start over here because this little guy kind of hides off in the corner. This is our Brachiosaurus, I believe, which is essentially a prehistoric axolotl newt salamander looking shebang. And as you can see, it is animated. Every now and again it opens its mouth and it looks around a little bit. It's gonna do it again. It's gonna do it. Oh, there we go. Oh, God, that made me tired. But we've got a few others as well. If we nip down here, we've got a Longus Squama. Absolutely beautiful looking creature. This one's skinned by Game Videos for Life, I believe. Also yawning. Moves its tail around a little bit. Got those beautiful fins around the back. Absolutely classic to the animal, of course. A little bit further back down here, we have actually got a mammal as well. This is Juramaya. He's a cheeky little fella. And then over here on the right hand side, we have a Compsognathus as well. So this is a animated but unmoving Compsognathus decoration. It's chirping and wagging its tail around a little bit, all that lovely stuff. So you've got these 7 new decorations. How would you use them? Well, you're also going to want to make sure to use this mod correctly. You're going to need Kyodenic's toolbox, the Wii toolbox, because that's going to let us move things around with a little bit more control. So for example, let's say we want a Longus Squama here in the middle. That seems like a really cool place for the Longus Squama to hang out and chill. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our decorations. We're going to pick out a Longus Squama. Keep it away from paths and other things. You'll find that it kind of messes things up if it's near other things. They're not always easy to pick up. Actually, what I would advise, especially with the smaller ones, like say the Brachiosaurus, is that you click and you don't move your mouse at all before you hit the N key to then pick them up with the toolbox. Otherwise, you may struggle to ever get them back, as I have gone through myriad times. So let's plop you down relatively away from the fence and such. There we go. I'm just going to go into free move for this one. We're going to move you over. Now it's hard to get this absolutely perfect, it must be said, but we're going to hold B. We're going to shuffle up. I think you're floating slightly. It's just going to be difficult to get them just right. They may have to there, perfect. Maybe. Right, let's take a look. So that's all we had to do, and yeah, his feet are in the mud a little bit, but it looks fantastic. And you know what? It's a muddy ground. It makes sense that his feet are buried in there a little bit. Let's use that as an excuse. Let's have a look at some of these that I made earlier, so like examples. So if we nip down here, we've got a desert one. You can see we've got our boa here in the front left, and at the back there we've got a bunch of our mammals chirping around, living their best life, hanging around in the sand. A little bit to the right. Oh, well, I should also point out, as you can see, now you can use these walls for anything. You could use them as walls, but I've put them in as a kind of backdrop to the exhibits. Actually, Lucas pack with the amphibians has some really cool backdrops that would also be perfect for these terrariums. The second one over here, so I've used a stone there. You can see there's our longer squama, and we've got a couple Meganeura. That one's kind of clipping out, whoopsie daisy. A couple Meganeura kind of flying around in the environment as well. And then over here we've got our wetlands one. You can see the compy in the middle there, hanging out on the muddy plinth, as compies are wont to do. And down there at the bottom we've got a Brachiosaurus as well, hanging out at the bottom of the water. I think they're really good. You don't need much in them to kind of bring them to life, but it's something, this is one of my most wanted items in Jurassic World Evolution 3, because we've got a lot of, even the compy, I know we've got the compy in our exhibits walking around, but it doesn't really work. It's just too small. You can never see the bloody thing. And I think if we want to bring if you want to bring arthropods into the game, if you want to bring fish into the game, you know, all this prehistoric life they could potentially add. Imagine like an aquarium, one of these, and you get to plonk down some prehistoric fish. That would be awesome. This is really, really high on my wish list, but it's very cool that we have this in the game now, thanks to mods at the very least. So as cool as that is, it says on the mod page that you can't really use these with existing animals because they don't have a fence around them, yada yada yada. And I thought to myself, that's stupid, I'm going to do it anyway. So I've sort of had an attempt, and it kind of works. It's not perfect, but it sort of works. You do have to sink them into the ground, because otherwise the animal will just disappear into the bottom bit unless it's a very tall one. But as you can see, these are some of Lucas' amphibians from the amphibian pack. You can kind of build something. I've got a few of these hanging around. As you see, you have to be careful about where you go, because I'm pretty sure that's a that's a Diplocowlus in there, and it's not having a great time. You're sticking out a little bit, but otherwise you're in there. Just had a thought on how to make this better. I've put together 4 of the walls that I can't grab the other ones. Okay, let's move these ones first, I suppose. But yeah, you could use the walls like this once you've pre-built your terrarium areas. There we go. I've got one more of them. That one's never coming. And we can kind of slide these into place. Oh, I saw it. There we go. So just using advanced move here. And the animals don't move. They're stuck in place. So they're kind of animated static ones, just like the other ones are. And yeah, as you can see, you can kind of make your own little terrarium using any animal that's currently in the game. We could put any dinosaur in here that we wanted to, as long as it was, I mean, it doesn't have to be an appropriate size, technically, I suppose. And it's pretty sweet. You could do this a lot neater, I suppose, grumble, but I think this one in particular looks really cool, actually, as a little terrarium display for art. I cannot remember what you're called, buddy. I'm very sorry, but it looks pretty happy in there. Of course, you'll need food off and water off, because these creatures are not going to be able to sustain themselves. But doesn't that look awesome, actually? That looks really dramatic and architectural. I really like that. That's great. To be honest, folks, I just tried to do this again, and it didn't work at all. So I'm going to try one more time. I can't quite remember how exactly I made this work. I think what you have to do is you have to build the fence first. So what we're going to do is we're going to find, I've completely lost it now because I'm a silly Billy. We want our invisible wall. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our invisible wall, and we're going to do a roughly the size of 4 of these kind of thing. Something like that. Okay. Then what we're going to do is, I'm just going to grab one of my animals. I'm going to move my, this is a Homalocephaly, so I'm just going to plop that in there. Hopefully. You good, Homer? Stop moving. Right, yeah, this is how you have to do it. So I think you have to put the fence in first, otherwise it doesn't work. Basically, so as you can see, the Homalocephaly is now not moving. It is trapped within the fence. But I think it's because the fence is so... I don't know, because the fence is so small, I suppose. The room it's got to operate in is so small that it just can't seem to... doesn't make any attempt to move within the fence confines. So with that done, we're going to grab our jungle terrarium again. I'm going to put down 4 of these next to each other, as neatly as I can within the confines of my patience. And unfortunately the ground's a little bit lower here, so that's already kind of messed up to daisy. Well, it started off neat and then it stopped. We're going to grab all these, we're going to hit G and we're going to hold shift, and that's going to let us grab all these simultaneously, and we're just going to shuffle these down over to where I believe the fence is. So let's go about there, and then we're going to hold Y, we're going to sink down into the ground, wherever you want it to be. We're going to click off, and hopefully this then works. Success! So if you try to do this the other way around, your dinosaur will keep teleporting outwards. So it's a little bit finicky, but you can make terrariums a little less stressful. I mean, it looks great, I think. It looks really good. In theory, you can do this with 1. You don't need to do 4 terrariums. You could just do this with 1. I'm just making use of. It's about, you know, if the fence is too small, the gap, the dinosaur won't go in at all either. So you need a decent size. So you could do a single terrarium and then just have more room around the outside of it. But once you've done with that, we're going to grab our wall. And actually, we're going to try a different wall here. We're going to use the, I mentioned a little bit ago, and you've seen some of the animals from it, Luca's fantastic amphibian mod. It comes with some really nice looking decorative walls that have got this kind of swampy jungle motif. Unfortunately, I have 10,000 decorations. There we go. It makes it very difficult to find anything. So I'm going to split this like so. Hopefully that's about in the middle. And we're going to do the same again. We're going to hit G, G, and we're going to move this over to the middle of our terrarium. Like so. And I quite like that it sticks out a little bit. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Like about there. Lovely jubbly. And yeah, there you go. So you've got these kind of jungle motif. I mean, it's a bit harsh on the Dracorex, I'll admit, but the point is, you can do this with anything you want. You've got your Homalocephale in there, Dracorex in there, Lestrosaurus having a good time in that one. And once you've done this part, you can then start to add more dinosaurs. So you're going to want to look from above, move over to the side, and kind of... Obviously, you're not really going to be able to see. It's quite difficult, because if I do like this, it pops over there. So you kind of need to be above it. So you need a good feeling for where you want your dinosaur to be. So I'm trying to get to the right of this bamboo here. So we want to go about there. And as you can see, that adds in our Dryosaurus. Now, which, as I say, is far too big for this kind of thing, but doesn't that look fantastic? I think that's really cool. Am I on hyperspeed? I am on hyperspeed. So yeah, that is the Terrarium expansion decoration mod, and a few different ways to utilize it. You can build some really cool custom things. You just need to be willing to finagle it a little bit. It's a little bit finicky. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but I think you can build awesome stuff. Either way, thank you very much for joining me. Go give the mod maker lots of love over on the Nexus. I'll link that down below, as I say. If you enjoyed the video and the finagling, throw me a like down below as well. Let me know what you think about the mod. Subscribe to the channel for more Jurassic World Evolution 2 and general dinosaur nonsense. And I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much of as always. Bye-bye.